Hello, today we're going to do a little line design where we get to learn all about elements of art, how to use color, and we're going to practice thinking about patterns and how we can place our lines in our design for maximum impact. Okay, so let's listen to this video of our directions. Hello artists, we're going to work today on what I call a line design, and I'm going to give you a few rules to follow. But before we get started on that project, we're first going to just do a warm-up in our sketchbook. So anytime we work in our sketchbook, we're using the Studio Habit Envision. That means we're planning, we're thinking about the steps, we're thinking about what we want our work to look like. So we're picturing it sort of in our head. We're also going to develop craft because we're specifically working on some skills as far as using our materials today. So, and these can end up becoming, there will be other things here that you use. They can become very expressive by the colors you choose. You might find that you're really stretching yourself to learn something new here too. So stretch and explore can also come into play. Also, if you stay focused on it, these designs turn out really, really cool. Okay, so we're going to just turn to the next clean page in your sketchbook. And I would like for you to warm up just by drawing as many different types of lines as you can. Okay, you're going to take one of your sheets of paper. I suggest you get one of the white sheets of paper from your art kit. And if you have a ruler, that would be perfect for this, but if you do not, then you can just find something that has a straight edge. It can be another piece of paper, it can be an envelope from the mail, or like a flyer, whatever. As long as it has a straight line, it will work, because we're not really measuring, we are just making lines. Okay, so I'm going to fold my paper in half. And I'm not going to crease it too much, just a little bit. I just want it to make a line there so I can see the middle. And I'm going to fold it this way too. So when I open that back up, I have 4 squares. Now, so what we're going to do, here's some rules for this design. You're going to pick 4 lines. Okay, you have 4 squares. You're going to pick 4 lines. Those 4 lines need to be in every single square. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my straight edge here, and I'm just going to make a line to help me see where my squares are. Okay, and do this in pencil because you may decide later that you don't want it. You want to erase it after. Some people they end up going over it because they want to keep that line, but not everybody does, so you'll see. And you can decide because you're the artist and that's your business. Okay, all right, so I have 4 squares, so I'm choosing 4 lines. Now, what I want you to think about in this design is how the lines can interact with each other, because when lines start to interact, they make patterns, they make shapes. Okay, so I'm going to start with just a straight line. I'm going to use my straight edge, and it's going to cut this corner. Okay, now I'm going to go to this shape and I'm going to do exactly the same line, but I'm going to make sure that they touch. Okay, I'm just going to do that in every square. So I have triangles now in each square, but the entire design is now, it has a diamond. Okay, and now I have 1 line. Done. So now I can add a new line. So I think this time I'm going to do something wavy. And it's just going to go from one end to the next. And then I'm going to pick that up in the next square. And then in the next square. Now what's cool about this is we are all using the same rules, but you're choosing different lines, you're putting them in different places, you're making decisions as an artist, so the design ends up looking very different. Okay, Now, let's see, my next line, I think I'm going to do a zigzag that goes up into the corner. I don't really like it right there, so I'm going to change that. That's why it's good to draw with a pencil first, because you get it right, you get it the way you like it, and then you can erase it. So I'm going to do that same thing right here. I'm going to come out a little bit, and then I'm going to do that cool zigzag. Same thing here. Okay, so now I have 3 lines in every square. Okay, so I need 1 more. So let's see, this time I think I'm just going to do something more here in the middle. I'm going to do a little curve. And then continue that curve, continue that curve, and continue that curve. So now, if you just look at one shape, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. But if you look at the whole design, it's looking super cool. All right, now, at this point, you can decide what material you want to use to color. You can use crayons. You could choose to use colored pencil. You could use oil pastels. You could use watercolor. Okay, if you choose to use watercolor, I would do some of the design with oil pastel and then paint the big areas. Like I would go over the lines or over some of the shapes with oil pastel first. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video and give you a chance to draw some of these things yourself, and then I'll come back and show you what my finished design looks like. Okay, so now that you have your design drawn on your paper, I did a couple of different time-lapse videos that just show you how you can color in this same design with different materials. So that way you can choose which material you would like to use because you are the artist, again, and that's your business. So let me show you this little video. Let me make it full screen here. So I'm going over this with oil pastel, okay, first. And then I'm coloring in some areas with the oil pastel. And then the bigger areas I am using watercolor. Okay, watercolor will not stick wherever you put the oil pastel. So I recommend too that you only choose maybe 4 colors to use, 4 or 5 colors, because when you limit your color choices, that will make, let's watch that one more time. When you limit your color choices, that really makes your patterns pop out. Okay, so I would do 4 or 5 colors. Sorry, this is a little bit quick, but I think you get the idea. I wanted to show you this one last thing before we move on. So when I painted this blue area, I don't know if you caught the part where I shake a little bit of salt onto the paint. So when I sprinkled a little bit of salt on it, when it dries, what the salt does is it absorbs little splotches of the wet paint. And so it makes a kind of a really cool peppery sort of look on your watercolor. Many of you did this last year when we did those birch tree designs and stuff. So, so you might know what I'm talking about. You don't have to do that step, but it's just kind of a cool effect.